Welcome back to your Networth's Network. I'm your host, Corey McNabb, and today we have another special collaboration episode with my friend Dimitry and Angelo. These guys partner up and make Spin Art Nation happen. You know, Dimitri's the founder of Spin Art Nation. Angelo, I believe he runs the Arizona branch. They're just killing it. So today I want to take some time, get to know them, and see how their business practice goes and how you can potentially help. So, what's up, Dimitri and Angela? How y'all doing today?
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good.
Awesome. That's good to hear. So, Dimitri, we've had you on a couple times now. I feel like you're kind of like a co-host a little bit, maybe. So, Angela, I kind of want to go more towards you. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself, Angela.
Yeah, so I've been an entrepreneur for as long as I can remember. I've worked in sales basically my whole life, and I started my first business in 2013. Um, and my first business went on for about 6 to 7 years, and it came to a time where I had to define whether or not to continue with the business or accept the fact that it was a passion project hobby because it wasn't very profitable. So I learned a lot in my first experience running that business. And then, like I said, I was working in sales basically my whole life. So after that stint of entrepreneurship, I went back to corporate, working in sales again, in finance specifically, and I just wasn't satisfied. I just wasn't happy with the way things were going. And I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur myself and be my own boss. So around February of 22, I joined Sub2, and that was the first mentorship that I've ever joined. And I was introduced to Abraham Gray. And Abraham Gray, at the time, was doing his own mastermind for how to acquire businesses creatively. And in November of 22, I went to his mastermind in Atlanta, and that's when I met Dimitry. At the very end of the mastermind, Dimitry invited a lot of us back to check out one of his escape rooms. So I figured I'd tag along and check it out. We went to his Buford location, Paranoia Quest Buford, and I was really impressed with what he built. There's really no blueprint or instruction manual for a escape room. So knowing that Dimitri built it himself and he put a lot of time and effort and energy into it, I was really impressed. And I asked him, if he ever thought about opening an escape room in Phoenix. And he said, well, escape rooms are a bit saturated. They're not as well. They're just really saturated, so a bit more competitive. But I have a different concept that I'd like to introduce to everyone, and that's when he told us about spin art. And that was like the literally the last day of my trip in Atlanta. So after that, got back home, did a little bit of research, and noticed that there was nothing like spin art in Phoenix. So myself, I'm not very artistic, I would say, but I am a businessman, and I just saw the opportunity. I saw there was nothing like it in the market. So, we'd be first to market. And, I just really jumped all over the opportunity. And, we formed a LLC shortly after that. We started looking for a space, the following month. And, it took a couple months, but we found a location. And the rest is history. He came down here, built it out. And within a couple months, we were up and running. And, it was I wouldn't say it was a very smooth road. I think everything has challenges. Nothing's ever going to go as planned, but it really helps to partner up with people that have a lot of experience and that really know what they're doing. That's what really made it easy for me to make that decision, because I knew Dimitri had several entertainment businesses. He's partners with Abraham in another venture. I'm partners with Abraham in another venture, so we kind of had that common ground. And yeah, I mean, that was, we signed our lease in May of last year, and Spin Art Phoenix is coming up on its 1 year anniversary at the end of June. So it's been about a year since we opened up, and now we're looking at expanding Spin Art and opening a new concept. And we're also bringing an escape room that Dimitry worked on a few years back, and opportunity presented itself. So now it's moving here. We literally just signed a lease this week. Awesome location, big location, and now we're moving on to the next project. So
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So you guys met at a mastermind that Abraham Gray was running. I just want to make sure I understand all this. And ultimately, Dimitry lured you in with his charm and all that about his concept of spin art. But what was it about Dimitry that you finally decided, you know what? I want to go in with this guy. I want to partner with him.
I just felt like, with checking out his escape room, I was really impressed. Like I said, there's no manual, no blueprints or anything to an escape room. So you have to be super creative. You have to know what you're doing and just have that vision to execute something like that. So that's really what impressed me about him. And then, having the mutual friend, the mutual partnership that we both had in Abraham Gray made it a lot easier for me to partner up with him. Obviously I, asked some questions about Dimitry to Abraham, and Abraham vouched for him and said, they've always done good things together and they've never had issues. So it was a combination of the creativity and what he's built, and the reputation that he has with, the mutual partner that we have.
Gotcha.
Corey,
Okay.
interesting. Interesting. So I want to tell you something. So when Angelo describing when we went to our escape room after the conference, at the conference there was a lot of people, and I invited like basically everyone. Hey, whoever is interested, you never maybe seen escape room or something, come out. I'll give you a grand tour of one of my facilities. So there was quite a few people who came out that night and check it. So I don't remember obviously each and single person who came out, right? So honestly, I didn't remember Angelo being there, like visiting, right? Because again, it's a lot of people, a lot of chaos. I'm focused on showing everything, is describing everything. So I don't remember details, right? But this is what's interesting. This is what makes the difference, right? I'm always focused on when I'm going to the conference, on meeting new people, and I'm sharp focused on few things, right? A, building like initial relations, right? And seeing what person is doing, what kind of line of business they're in, what's their goals, what they're interested in. And then I want to share my passion. I want to share what I do and see if there is a connection, right, between two of us. Like, is there something where we can help each other, or maybe potentially we can work together? Because I'm on at the end of my mind, I'm always looking for partners, right? This is why I go to the conferences. Besides getting new knowledge, obviously, from the conference, I'm looking for partners. And so when I'm inviting people, I'm hoping to see that maybe somebody going to be my investor, or somebody going to be my private lender, or somebody going to be my integrator partner, right? This is kind of on the back of my mind. So again, when we went to this, like when I went to show escape room, this is what I'm focusing on. And so when after the conference everyone left, you have a bunch of contacts of different people. And I try usually, and this is my suggestion, if you go to the conference, try to make as much notes as possible. Take picture with each person who you exchange information and stuff. Because once they left, there's a new chapter starts where now you want to follow up and kind of start like it's afterlife of the conference, right? And this is where the interesting dynamics usually happens. So you see, okay, who the people are, what they do. You call them back. Some people not going to even reply. Some people going to reply maybe like 3 weeks. You never know. And some people going to reply quickly, and you start connection, and you start talking. And Angelo was one of these people. He called me. I don't remember, like maybe a few weeks later or something, and we start conversation. And he's like, "Hey, I'm very interested." And he kind of reintroduced himself because again, I didn't remember him, right? So like, hey, I'm the guy, one of the guys who went with you on your tour, and we spoke at the conference, and I really like your concept with escape room. I really like your concept with the spin art studio. So I would be interested in bringing it to my hometown, Phoenix, Arizona. Right. So this is where connection happens, and we reconnected back and start talking more. So at that stage, you still don't know, the person. You still don't understand if how serious he is, and if he like ready to make a next step. So Angelo really kind of went through the steps really quickly. We made the uh, new company, and we start working, but in reality it took a little bit of time. Like he was mentioning, he actually vetted me behind my back. I even didn't know that he was talking to Abraham, for example. I even didn't know that he actually partners with Abraham on some other deals, right? So there is some vetting process have been happening. I'm sure Angela was talking to a few other people who potentially knew me, right? And then I start learning about Angela, like who he is. Oh, he has another business there, very interesting business. Like he owns actually a tour fleet in Phoenix, which is super cool. And so we start talking. I start learning from him, like normal communication, right? Normal conversations. Hey, tell me more about your business. I want to see how excited he is. I want to see how serious about what he's doing, what his background, and so on and so on. Because for me it's very important in a partner to know that they're serious, that they can execute, right? Especially in a partner who's going to be my integrator, right? Because I have a concept. I want to make sure that the person who we're going to be executing with can actually execute, right? Because there is a lot of money involved, a lot of time involved, and a lot of energy. And so I want to make sure that we're working with the right people. A lot of times, like somebody will reach out to me, very excited, very energetic, right? But then, like week pass by, 2 weeks pass by, 3 weeks pass by, and nothing happens. And usually, during the conversations, we talk about like, hey, so Angel was saying like, hey, what's our next step, right? And I'm like, well, next step, let's look at your market. Let's do market research. And I'm so busy that a lot of times I don't have time to do it myself. But what I would do, I'll give you steps which needs to be done. Like, hey, can you go on Google and type in like how many escape rooms in your area, and just look up, make print screens, and let's do a research. And then okay, extra places, and then paint and sip studios. And the reason why we do that, it helps me to understand the market that I don't know. Because if there's a lot of escape rooms, a lot of sip and paint studios, a lot of extra places, a lot of another entertainment experiences, and they thrive, it means that it's potentially good market for our new concept. And so, we started talking about it, and then I leave him with it. The reason why, again, I want to see if he gonna make steps to do simple research. It doesn't take a lot of time to do it. But if you're not willing to take the steps, it tells me that you're probably not ready for anything serious, right? A lot of people expect that I would do everything for them, like especially integrators. That's not the case. I'll give you a blueprint, what needs to be done. I'll guide you, especially if you don't have experience. But I'm expecting you as a like to be this engine, right? Propose us to the next step. And if you're not willing to take the steps, then most likely I'm not just going to be as interested as going to the next steps. But in case with Angelo, like he took action immediately. That was very, very exciting for me and very cool. He did research immediately. Like next day or two, he's sending me some information. Like, hey, take a look. And on some days I've been busy. So what would happen is Angela would remind me, "Hey, did you look at this? What I sent you? Like, I think there is a potential. Let me know what you think." And this is exactly amount of energy I'm looking at my integrator partners. So just looking at these things which Angel was doing, I for me it's like signals and information that I need. Oh, this guy, I can probably do something good with him, right? And so once we look at the stuff, okay, he's like, yeah. And so we looked at it, everything checks out, market looks good. Phoenix is a big market. He's like, okay, so what's the next step? What should we do? Let's move on, right? And I'm like, okay, let's serious. So I'm like, okay, next step would be let's probably start working on establishing the entity. He's like, okay, no problem. Tell me what to do. So he a registered entity. We opened the next step bank account, and so on and so on. So with Angelo, what was different? It was very very quick, like from time when we spoke first time and we saw each other. He vetted me on the back end, I vetted him on the front with everything what he was doing, and it just clicked, and I saw that there was a great potential, and the results didn't wait to happen.
Awesome. So, okay, so you kind of went over um, the process and what each person's role was. So, if I get the gist of it, basically, Dimitri, um, you obviously, because you were the founder of the Spin Art Nation, you have multiple escape rooms, stuff like that. You kind of had an idea of how the process should go, and you just kind of said, "Hey, here's the next step. Go do it." Is that about right?
Correct. Yes. To majority of stuff like small steps, Angelo was doing himself, and then for example, finding the space. I don't know his market, right? But I have a general idea of what I'm looking for. So our steps was like, Angelo, find a real estate person who can show us the properties, right? Who can find us and feed us some properties. I gave this real estate person details like how many square feet, how much per square foot approximately we're looking for, some other criteria, right? And the real estate agent start feeding us some properties. So I found few which I like potentially that can work. But again, because I don't know the market, so then I came back to Angel. Hey, I think these 3 or 4 properties might work for us. Can you check it and tell me what do you think about market? What do you think about area of town? Give me some feedback. Let's work on that. So then Angelo went to the all locations, took some videos. We actually have been on a live like video calls, looking at these locations with the agent, discussing areas of town, discussing does it worth to pay for this property a little bit more per square foot based on the where it's located, how is the foot traffic, and so on and so on. So yeah, now we start working more actively together, working on stuff. Then once we found the property which we liked, next step was me negotiating with the landlord and trying to lock the favorable terms for us. This is big step. There is a lot of properties technically available on the market, but a lot of them out of reach based on multiple like reasons. Main reason is price, how much it's going to cost. So it took, Angelo, how long it took us to find the property? It took quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it took like 3 months to actually find it, and then another couple of months to negotiate the term. So yeah, about
So
5 months
this is
total.
Yeah, so this is actually not that long. I was thinking it took longer. So we got,
The
now I remember,
escape
we got
room,
lucky.
the
Yes,
escape room
escape room
is
took us a
taking a
long
lot
time.
longer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, with the Spin Art Studio, we got lucky. We got lucky. Angelo was again looking all the time, sending me different options. And yeah, finally we found something really good. And so yeah, and then once we locked the deal, once we signed the list was tricky. So the terms was good, but there was a catch. They gave us, Angelo, what, just 1 month free rent or no free rent? I don't remember.
They gave us 2 months, but it wasn't until the first year and second year that we get those 3 months. So nothing up front. We just, we had to start paying rent right away.
Yes, and that's very dangerous, especially for the businesses. Like if you're starting your first business, try to get as much as free rent as possible and as much as of TI, tenant improvements. So in our case, we didn't get any TI, right? Yeah,
No
we
tenant
didn't get any,
improvement,
no
just 2
TI.
months of rent. Yeah.
and no free rent. So it was tricky, but again, the price was really good, and the landlord uh, worked with us on some other things like minor details, which was important for us. And so, and again, because I have experience and because Angelo, I trusted in Angelo's abilities as well, we just made a very quick plan what needs to happen. I aligned my team. Basically, as soon as we executed, we knew that we immediately gonna go there. We worked with Angelo to find general contractor there, architect, and we work swiftly. And so me and my team from Atlanta actually came all the way to Phoenix to work on a project ourselves because we knew that this is the most efficient way to do it and quickest way to do it because we know how to execute quickly and build all equipment. So we came out there immediately, built everything as quick as possible, and I think like in on like end of the second month we were open. I'm pretty sure. How many
Yeah,
days?
yeah. It only took 2 months to get it built out and open. So
Yeah. So, and that was key to success to be very quick because again, because of the terms of the lease. Yeah. And so that's my role. My role is to bring concept and execute it until we can open. And then Angelo as integrator, he has other businesses to run, right? So he cannot be there day and night working as employee. So that was one of his concerns from the beginning. Like, hey, how much time I'm gonna have to dedicate to the business? And I've been honest from the beginning that at the beginning, you're going to be busy. It's going to take time to organize team because once I leave, you still have to organize your team. You need to find core employees. You need to find a manager who's going to be running it. But you still going to be overseeing everything. So like there is still marketing involved. There is communication with influencers, like local news stations. There is some steps that needs to be done, and working in conjunction with the manager to make sure that everything works smoothly, right? So, Angela, how much time you've been spending at the beginning on operations, and then how much time you spend now?
yeah, so I mean, when we first opened up, it took us a little while to hire staff. So I mean, I was working, at the studio between 30 hours a week or so, plus all of the owner stuff I was doing on the back end, with the coordinating marketing, social media stuff, and just all the other things that an owner operator has to worry about. So yeah, I mean, when I first started, it was minimum 30 hours at the studio plus everything on the back end. Now we have a staff of 9. We have a GM that's in place, and she actually handles all the day-to-day operations now. And I mean, I probably stop in the studio once a week just to check things out and see how everything's going, make sure nothing's broken, everything looks good. Um, but I'm not working there as an employee anymore. Everything, all the time that I spend in the business is on the business, on the back end, kind of looking forward and kind of driving the sales, is really what I feel like my main responsibility now is to just make sure we have people coming in the door, our online presence is strong, and overseeing the manager. But I've been fortunate to have a pretty good staff, and my GM has taken a lot off my plate, and I have full trust and confidence in her, and she's done an excellent job so far.
And just to give you a perspective of what I do on a back end, right? So I bring the systems in place. Basically, we have software that we use for all of our employees for check in, check out, clock in, clock out, and communication between employees and staff. I have a team who does all HR work, right? So basically, paying employees and making sure that they, stay all documentation there in place. I own also call center. This is a cool thing which actually gives us, I honestly feel that gives us an edge to some degree, where all phone calls to all of my locations between all of it comes to our call center. When you have one location or two locations, you cannot afford it. It's pretty expensive. But when you get to the like little bit bigger scale, it's actually very beneficial for. And one of the main benefits, right, that you get with it, employees can focus on a customer service at the studio, especially on the weekends when we're busiest. It's becoming so chaotic a lot of times where customers come in, people checking in, they dress, they have questions, they buying some add-ons. Some people need to check out, they need to make a payment. So there's so much chaos happening. And in the past, when we also had to answer phone calls, and again during this on the weekends, like phone calls coming as bombardments. It's like crazy, becoming crazy. So when I was able to, I start hiring people to our call center. They work from home from different areas. We have people working on East Coast or in Central Time and California and West Coast. So we cover all of the hours. They stay in comfort of their home in front of the TV on the computers, and all phone calls comes in, to them. They answer them. They make bookings. They make changes in the bookings. They answer all the questions. It's amazing. It helps us a lot. We train them specifically to upsell, so they actually sell. Somebody makes a call to do a booking for one experience. We'll try to upsell them. Hey, buy second experience with a discount, or do you know you also can add some additional paint or some other cool things. So we actually increase our sales because of that. So I own that. And also, I own a marketing agency. So all our marketing done in-house. And this is something we start doing like in the last, I think, like less than 2 years. Before we were outsourcing, but now we have a team in-house, so we can enroll changes in the marketing. We can enroll some new marketing. We do collaborations with influencers a lot, where, for example, Angelo found very good influencer in his market. Influencer came in, did special video recording for us, and we implemented it in ads, and we see very good results with this new ads. So this is the stuff I'm focusing on, bringing systems in place which helps us to drive traffic basically to all of our locations.
Gotcha. So it sounds like if someone wanted to partner with you, they're not just going to have it easy, right? They've got to prove themselves to you. They got to do their market research, and but you'll help them along the way. But once you get the place and get it built out, it's kind of like they just have to manage all the stuff you give them, right?
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, because we all business people, so we all working on multiple businesses. I'm not expecting somebody just to be married to one business. I'm actually, I'm learning it myself and I'm teaching. And again, at these conferences where we go to, like Dealmaker conference and like Angela mentioned another one, uh, usually people comes in who has this open mindset where they want to build an empire for themselves. And so I'm just one of the venues, like, hey, you have your real estate division, right? But you're interested in expanding in a business. Well, I'm just going to be one of the arms, right, in your empire. That's all what it is. Like Angelo's case, he has tour fleet, right? He working on another project where he want to have a mechanic shop. So, but I'm just one of this entertainment arms of his empire in a Phoenix market, right? And this is how we help basically each other. I'm learning something new from him. He learning from me. We bounce ideas between each other and always seeing, what's happening on the market. It helps us to have an edge basically because of that. One thing I want to mention to you, also interesting thing, like if you are starting and you might have this question, how do we reimburse for that time and effort and energy we invest, right? So here, interesting moment. Angelo mentioned that he was working at the beginning in the studio a lot of time, and then he was also doing his like owners activities, right? So the way how we usually structure the deal, like for example, if I'm coming out and I need to be there physically present, managing the construction, managing the build out and stuff, I usually charge for my time, right? Because our time is valuable. Like if I'm doing something here with you, it means that I'm not doing something somewhere else, right? Where I'm making money. So our agreement is like, if I'm coming out, I'm doing construction part, I'm charging as my like contractor would charge me, right? So I'm doing it. So I came in there and I've been charging. Then we agreed with the angel like, hey, if you physically have to be present at the studio and working hours, well, let's figure out what would be the normal rate for the manager to be there, and just have fair number that you're going to be reimbursed for this. Now everything else what we've been doing. So again, managing, organizing, doing everything on the back end. Not me, not Angelo, we're not charging for that. So whatever I'm doing back in the office, this is like expected as from the partner. Same thing, Angelo, whatever he is doing on a back end, this is comes with the responsibilities of the owner. And these responsibilities, they actually have written in our operating agreement. This is another thing, like if you're watching right now, you've never worked with a partner, and you might heard many times that working with a partner is the worst idea you can have. It can be true if you not protect yourself and not prepare properly. And the first step that you need to have is a properly done operating agreement where everything described in a fine details. If you have this done and you prepared, then you're gonna have less. I'm not saying that you might not gonna have a problems. You can, but you're going to be more protected in this way, and there will be less surprises along the way. And this is why it's so important to vet your potential partner, especially if it's somebody you don't know, in advance. So again, later on you're going to have less problems.
Gotcha. That's all really good information and kind of makes me excited to try and see if I can partner with you on something. So I definitely know some people are out there thinking about it.
Perfect. Yeah.
So I want to hit on real quick. Y'all brought it up. You're opening an escape room in Arizona. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that process go, and where are you at now?
Okay. So maybe Angel, let me start, but then you'll continue. There is a story behind the escape rooms. I'm skeptical about opening more escape rooms in general, like Angela was saying, because there is so many of them. But they very lucrative business. Once it's established and once it's running, it's very good business. My problem with that, it takes a lot of capital, much more than usually like to open, for example, spin art studio, and it takes a lot of time to build it. Like you can be building like for, I don't know, 6, 8, 9 months. And right now with the way how market is, if you don't get a lot of free rent, it's going to become very expensive very quick on the rent side. So this is why I usually skeptical. But it just happened that again, because of my connections in the industry, I had opportunity to buy a very good escape room. And so my idea was it's in a smaller city, and I don't like it to be in a small city. I want it to be in a big city. So my idea was to bring it to one of the other cities where I already have partners. We have locations in Texas, in Phoenix with Angel, in Chicago. I have operations in Raleigh, North Carolina, in Georgia here. So I start thinking, okay, where can we bring it, where it's going to be the best. So I looked at all of the markets. Again, did my research. Where is a lot of escape rooms? Where is less escape rooms? In which city is there is a pockets where it would make sense, right? And there was also another aspect that I also, when I negotiated this purchase of this escape room, I knew the general manager of this location. So when I was negotiating, one of my requests was, can I hire this general manager and make him to move to the new area? That was important for me because I really wanted to hire this general manager with this location. And he said yes, and I gave him all of the locations where I would prefer to be. And he said, well, I like Texas, I like Phoenix. We have relatives in both areas in San Antonio, Texas. So probably I would like to be in these two markets. And so we start looking at possibilities at both markets, and at the end, we agreed that probably Phoenix going to be the best option for us. And so at that time, I reached out to Angelo, and said, "Hey, Angelo, so I have another project. You know, I think you're going to be a good fit, in your city. Would you be interested?" Right? And Angelo, maybe take over from here. Tell us the rest of the story.
Yeah. So, honestly, when he first approached me, the timing wasn't right. And I actually passed on it. I had a lot of stuff I was juggling, and I just didn't see, it wasn't the timing was just off, and I just didn't feel like I could commit to it. But as time went on, something changed, and then I revisited the business, and fortunately there was still time for me to get in. So I think we formed I joined the LLC last June, and then we started looking for a space right away. So it's been since June that I've been looking for a space. And the difference in the escape room versus spin art is, like Dimitry said, we got really lucky with spin art because we found a space almost right away. It checked all the boxes. There was some negotiating, but that's pretty usual. With this one, I mean, I probably looked at like 15, 20 locations before we found this one. And the one that we just found was technically off market because it's not even, listed as a available space. Um, and now, we just signed the lease this week. We're in the process of hopefully getting keys in the next 30 days, but it's an awesome location. We're like right next to an IKEA. There's no escape room within a 15-mile radius of this location. So I think we have a huge advantage there. But being so close to the IKEA, IKEA, there's only one IKEA in all of Arizona, and it's a destination location. People from all over the state go to IKEA. There's all kinds of restaurants and main events and all these different attractions in this complex. So it makes me really excited to have that location locked up because I think it has a lot of potential. And to Dimitri's point, there are probably about 50 escape rooms in Phoenix. There's it is saturated, but a lot of the escape rooms are average at best. A lot of them are actually below average. And in the process, I've done some homework and checked out a lot of escape rooms in over the last year that we've been working on this. And I just feel like we're going to have a huge advantage because one of the I think Dimitry has one of the best escape rooms in Atlanta. Even Abraham has said that you have one of the best escape rooms in Atlanta. So, and he's owned multiple escape rooms too. So, that's it's high praise coming from him. And just from what I experienced in that first time that I met him and looking at, how cool and creative the escape room that Dimitry built, how cool and creative they are. It just really makes it an exciting project because, like I said, the location is just prime. I feel like we can do a much better job than a lot of these other escape rooms here. And then having an established entertainment business already in spin art, I think we can feed off of a lot of that. A lot of the influencers and the relationships that we've built because of spin art, it's just going to translate and transfer really easy to the escape room. I think if we were opening a brand new escape room with no spin art already established, it'd probably be a much more challenging project to work on. But because we've done a good job at opening spin art and putting ourselves on the map, I think people are going to naturally gravitate towards our escape room. And like he said, the deal comes with the GM. I think that's one of the hardest parts of operating a business is finding good operators. And I haven't met Walter, our GM, personally, but I've spoken to him a few times now, and he's kind of grown up in the escape room world. He has a lot of experience in the escape room. He's younger than us. He's got some pretty fresh ideas, and he just, I think like everything's kind of aligning and everything's kind of falling into place. So, going back to the time that it took us, I think, it's really important to have patience, because just because you don't land the first location that, you kind of have your sight set on or your heart set on, something else is going to come down the road. If you just, be patient and persistent with it. And I think that's kind of what happened here. It's taken a long time to find this place, long time to negotiate this place. But I think once we open up, it's going to be worth it for all those reasons that I just said. And yeah, I think it's going to make it a lot easier for us having spin art and having such a cool concept and attraction that a lot of these, influencers and people that visit spin art are going to, make their way towards Paranoia Quest. And, it kind of brings me back to one of the mentorships that I'm in Dealmaker Protege. I think, Carl Allen, but that was the third mentorship that I've joined in the last couple of years. But, he says, find one customer and figure out a way to sell them multiple things. And that's essentially what we're doing, because the spin art customers are those escape room customers. And I feel like we're gonna, with my sales background and with what I've done in sales, like, I feel like preparing my team, coaching my team to know how to cross market and offer the escape room experience to our spin art customers is going to be huge. Like I said, I think the customer base is the same. And, just training the employees to make sure that they're offering that, to make sure that they know about the escape room that we have as well, is going to give us an advantage, because again, those customers are the same. They're the same for spin art, and they're the same for the escape room. So, we found our customer. Now we're just, finding a way to sell them multiple things, at any given time.
Gotcha. So, Angelo, what would you say to someone who's looking to get into either a business or, they don't know where to start? Maybe they want to try and, partner with you or partner with Dimitry. Like, what's some advice you would give to someone who's fresh into the business realm?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is being, self-aware of what your strengths and weaknesses are. And, I didn't have any entertainment experience when I joined this venture. I did have plenty of business experience, sales experience, customer service experience, et cetera, but nothing on the operation side of the entertainment industry. So if you're just starting out, you're not sure where to go, you need to join a team. You need to find someone that has experience that can complement your weaknesses, and vice versa. You complement their weaknesses, and partner up with someone that has experience, that has proven results, and that has a vision. Because I think it becomes, a lot easier when you have someone that's in your corner that has experience, that's been there before, and that can kind of walk you through that. So that's the first thing, is being self-aware and knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. But the second thing would be to look for those, look for people that are experts or have experience in their industry. Because personally, I probably would have not, signed up or gotten into the entertainment industry, just because I don't have any experience. My experience is more in sales and customer service. So I think that's a skill set that you could really use across different industries. But as far as the actual entertainment experience, I didn't have any. So, when I came across Dimitry, it just made it easier for me to partner up with him, since I knew he had experience and we had a mutual partner together. So, be self-aware, know your strengths and weaknesses, and look for someone to partner up with. And then, I think this kind of goes back to just being just having being a person with integrity. If you're gonna say something, just do it. I can't stress how important it is to be a man or woman of your word, because you only get, really one shot at your reputation. So if you are unsure of something, or you're on the fence, don't commit to something unless you're 100% serious to it, because it's just going to look bad. I mean, I know of a handful of people that have been interested in partnering up. They get all excited, they want to start looking, but then one thing or another thing happens, and then they just kind of disappear, and then it's like, okay, well, I'll probably never do a deal with that person again because they kind of wasted my time. So I think those three things, being self-aware, partnering up with someone that has experience, and then just being true to your word. I think that'll get you a long way in life.
Yeah, that is all good information. Dimitri, what about you? You got any advice?
Yeah, especially when you're starting up, uh, limit limit your exposure and limit your liability. So find partners. Partners is important. Here is example. You might been saving money working full-time job, and you saved enough, you think, for the project. Well, even despite the fact that you might have enough money for the project, honestly, what I would do is I still would find the partners who also can invest money with you or instead of you, and this will help you. This will limit your exposure to unknown. And one of the great examples of unknown is the COVID. I can tell you that COVID almost put me out of business, right? And you never know what else can happen, what else can change, what kind of surprises awaits for you. Especially if you never open a business, you think that it's going to cost you X amount of dollars, right? In reality, it might be triple this price, right? And what's going to happen if you run out of money and you don't have anywhere to borrow, right? So it's always good to have partners who is investing with you or again instead of you, and also try to get also the partners who can divide between few of you different tasks. Like again with me and Angelo in our case, Angelo responsible for operations, I'm responsible for everything like behind and concept and stuff. It helps on a different multiple levels. If there's something goes wrong and Angela needs help, like there is somebody who can A, advise, who can B, maybe help to some degree in some things. It's always easier to work together as a team, right? And I'll give you example again. If you don't know how to structure the deal, so I'll give you example of our deal, right? Maybe it's going to be interesting to somebody. So we have multiple partners on this particular deal. So originally, again, Angelo was not in that deal, right? So my first partner for that deal was a general manager. So, right, I found this escape room for sale. I negotiated the price, and we agreed on the price. So I'm buying this escape room no matter what, right? So I know that that's done deal. So my next thing, I'm thinking, okay, can I find somebody who's gonna run this escape room once I purchased it? Because I don't want to run it myself. I don't have time for that. So this is why I reached out to this general manager, like, hey, you know this escape room better than anyone else. Would you be interested to partner up with me and run it? The challenge was at this moment, he gets paid at the so he was general manager for this escape room, but it's a bigger family entertainment center, and he had another role in this entertainment center, and he was being paid to basically like oversee some other operations there as well. So my challenge was to make it interesting for him that he would quit everything what he has, and not only that, but to agree for him to move to another state which is a big deal because he's married, he has a wife, she has to agree. So it had to be very sweet deal, right? So the way how we structured it, I told him, listen, how much you getting paid? Tell me. I'll give you a salary. But on the top of the salary that you're gonna get, I'll give you a percentage of equity in that business. You know this business. You like this business. So if you believe in it, I'll give you equity on the top of everything what you're gonna be making. And he said, really? I've been looking for opportunity like this for a long time that I can grow and become the owner of the business and be proud, and when I'm in front of the customers, now I can say that, hey, this is my business, I'm the owner. It changes the mindset of the person from being employee of owning something and dedicating so much more to the business. So he said, you know what? I appreciate the opportunity. Let me think about it. Let me sleep on it. Let me talk to my wife, and I'll get back with you. Right? And it took him a little bit of time. I actually was worried for a second that he's gonna say no. But then when I told him that, listen, I'll give you different markets where we can move it. You choose to which market you want to go. And then he said, oh my God, okay, then it makes sense. And again, he talks to his wife. His wife has relatives in Phoenix, Arizona. So they said, yeah, Phoenix. And he had relatives in San Antonio, Texas. So he said, you know what? I like this offer. If it's still, available, I would take it. And from that moment when he agreed, it took us almost another year to get to the point where now we're ready, we signed the lease and he's ready to move. So there was another like part of it. Luckily, he's still employed for this whole period while he's there while we're waiting. So that was nice for us. And so once I found him, I reached out to a few more people in my community and said, hey, um, you've been looking for opportunity to work with me as investor. I think I have something good for you. Would you be interested in? And I just gave all of these details of the project, what I'm planning to do, what I'm planning, how much it's going to cost. Basically, so I build everything, like all details, build basically like a presentation, right? So it's like a pitch deck. You present in pitch deck where how much it's going to cost, what's the return on investment you expecting, other details, what it entails, and I presented it to different potential partners that I see that might be for them it might be a good fit, right? And so I presented it literally like to I think like 5 6 different people. I don't need many people to present it to because I have like a list of potential people who expressed interest. Like, hey, Dimitri, if you're gonna have a project in entertainment industry that you're working on, let me know. I might be interested, right? So they're not committing completely, but they giving me this information that they might be interested. So I have a list. I was thinking that it might interest a few of them, so I reached out to 5, I think, on 6, and 2 people said, "You know what? Yes, I'm very interested." And a few more said, "You know what? If you're not going to find somebody, get back to me. I'll probably back you up as well." Right? And so between 2 of these investors, we split the equity. Basically, I took a 50% of equity and split it between investors who is bringing full amount of money to this project, right? So now I have one person who's going to be running the place. I gave him some of my equity. I gave half of the equity, remaining equity, to these 2 people, divided between them, and remaining equity I have. Then, when we decided that we want to bring it to the Phoenix and bring it to Angelo, again, I took remaining equity I have and split it and brought in Angelo as investor and slash operator. So he invested some of his money. And also, I gave equity for overseeing operations, just like what he's doing with a Spin Art Nation. So I hope this is valuable information for somebody who've never done deal like this and brought the partners in. This is the structure basically. So at the end, my share is not the biggest share in a company, and I'm okay with that. The reason why I'm okay with that is because I know that there is a strong partners in the deal, who going to take care of the business, and I can step away and focus on bringing more deals. Like, think about it this way. If I have money, and it doesn't matter how much money I have, the amount of money is limited. So let's say I can do 10 deals where I invest 100%, right, of the money. And after these 10 deals, I have zero money, so I cannot invest anywhere else. So I'm limiting myself to 10 deals. Now, what's going to happen when the deal 11 comes in, or deal 12, where it's incredible deal? You have to jump on it, but you have to execute quickly. You have to pay for it or something, right? I'm basically out of the picture now because I don't have, I'm limited, right? So this is why I prefer to partner with some other partners who is bringing equity, who is bringing money into the deal. So I limit my exposure, and I always have a cushion of money available for the next deal. And I'm always working on the next deal. So I always know that there is enough money, right, saved on my end that I can always execute on really good deal. With this structure, I'm not always not in a hurry, so I'm not in a rush to get the next deal. I'm looking for the good opportunities. But when this good opportunity present itself, I can execute. And this is what helps me. Like the partners who brings money to these deals, they give me this freedom of working on more deals. And guess what? Even if I get, let's say, 25% of the equity in a company, but if I can own 100 companies at 25%, or 200, 300 companies at 25%, right? It's much more beneficial to me than owning 10 companies at 100%. I hope it makes sense. So that's kind of the back thinking on a back
Yeah,
end.
absolutely. That's all great information. Um, but that's pretty much all I got for y'all. I really appreciate your time coming out. Dimitri gave a ton of fantastic information. If you want to partner with him, I'll put his contact info in the description of this video. Real quick, I know, Dimitri, I've had you on quite a bit. Where's the best place to get in touch with you, Angelo?
I would say Instagram. So it's my first and last name, Angelo. The O is a 0, Pena. You can follow me there, shoot me a DM, and connect with me on Instagram.
Awesome. Sweepy, hang on. Go. Go. I'll be there in a second. I apologize. My daughter just came home.
Beautiful.
Sweet. So, okay, cool. So Instagram, got you there. And yeah, I'll
Yeah, my phone number, in case somebody needs it, it's 770-940-4240. Feel free to call me or text me. I'm always available. Yeah, Corey will put probably my email as well in the description. I'm happy to talk to anyone if someone needs just advice. I'm always open. Just I'll give you some ideas of what I think, or maybe you have a deal, or yeah, if somebody want to partner and have money or integrator like Angelo in some new market. I'm looking right now. We're actively working, like Angelo mentioned, on escape room in Phoenix. We have another project coming up soon. We're going to be opening Spinner Studio in Las Vegas. I just came back from Orlando, looking at spaces in Orlando. So we're looking all over the place. Yeah, it's, we'll be happy to partner and to get to know new people. Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, once again, I appreciate it. I'm gonna send y'all to the back, close this thing up. All right.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having
Thank you. Well, guys, that's our show. Another special collaboration with Dimitri and Spin Art Nation. Tons of good information. Like, if you are creative at all, reach out to Dimitri. If you want to open a escape room, Spin Art Nation, or whatever, reach out to Dimitri. Like, let's get these things going. Let's get people together and doing deals. So cool. That being said, I hope you like and subscribe and show up next week. I'll have something else for you. Hopefully it'll be cool and you'll learn a lot, and it'll be cool. Yeah, whatever. Comment anything you want to see more of, anything you don't like, dances, whatever. I might look at it. I might not. Actually, I'll look at it, but I might not entertain it. So that being said, till next time, have a wonderful day.